Today we're going to be learning how to make a small octopus in all one piece on a 24 peg loom. You're going to need your loom hook, 3 stitch markers, and a needle to finish it off afterwards. You're going to want a needle that has a large hole or eye because you're going to be using size 5 yarn. So to start off, we're going to need a slip knot. So you're going to take your yarn between your thumb and forefinger, wrap it around your forefinger and middle finger, go behind, and push it in through the back. Pull up a loop, and then while holding the tail and the rest of the yarn, pull that tight, and then attach it to your anchor peg. That's the peg sticking off to the side here. Hold the working yarn and just pull tight. So now we're going to start with a drawstring cast on. So you're going to take your yarn behind peg 1, in front of peg 2, behind peg 3, in front of peg 4, and so on like that in a zigzag pattern, all the way around the loom. When you get back to peg 1, you're going to go behind it again, so there's nothing on that first peg, and then lay it across the next few pegs. So you can see there's already a loop here on peg 2. There's already yarn on peg 2, so you're going to be able to knit off. So you're going to take your loom hook, scoop up the bottom loop, and knit it over the top of the peg. You're going to lay it across peg 3 because there's nothing on it, so just lay it across. There's already a loop on peg 4, so we're going to knit that one off, scoop up the bottom loop, knit it over the top of the peg, and so on like that all the way around the loom, knitting off every second peg. Alright, when you get up to peg 24, you're going to knit off on peg 24, move this out of the way, and you're going to see that there's still nothing on peg 1. So this is going to be row 1, your cast on is finished. So for row 1, you're just going to skip it, just lay the yarn across the front, and then we're going to knit over on peg 2. So you're going to half wrap your peg, lay it across the front, and hold it in the back with your fingers, and then knit over the top of the peg. And we're just going to continue doing that all the way around the loom. For row 1, you're just going to knit. So you're going to half wrap your peg across the front, grab the bottom loop and knit it over the top of the peg, and so on like that all the way around. And there's your last 3 pegs. And that's row 1 done. So now for rows 2 to 10, you're just going to knit. So just like row 1, except for now you don't have to skip the first peg because there is a loop on it. That's just for the first row. So you can knit over on peg 1 now. So for rows 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, you're just going to knit all the way around. Half wrap your peg, knit over. Okay, just finishing up row 4 right here. And we're going to take the knot off the anchor peg. So you're going to hold the tail, stick your loom hook in there, and just sort of give it a wiggle, and it should pop right off. So then you're going to stick it down here and then pull through, and that'll have it completely out of your way. Okay, once you get your 10 rows done, next comes the scary part. You're going to need 3 stitch markers, and we're going to make a scallop stitch. So on peg 1, you're going to mark the yarn with a stitch marker. Just slip it up through that loop. Come closer. Slip it up through the loop that's already on the peg. And we're going to do 3 of those. And we're going to knit 15 rows back and forth on just these 3 pegs. So for the first row, you're going to half wrap your peg just like always, grab hold of that stitch marker and use it to pull the loop up over. Pop it over, that's your row 1. Now we're going to turn around and knit that 3rd peg again. So you're still half wrapping your peg, it's the same thing, you're just going in the opposite direction. And we're going to knit the bottom loop over the top, knit the bottom loop over the top. Okay, that's row 2. Now we're going to turn around again, knit that first peg again. That's 3. Here's 4. And you're going to do that back and forth until you have 15 rows. You should end up on the right side. Once you have your 15 rows, you're going to take these 3 loops and scoot them down a bit. And then take the first stitch marker that you had and pop it back onto that first peg. Take the 3rd stitch marker, pop it back onto that 3rd peg. Come on. And then you can do the middle one. If you start, maybe not for 3, but if you start from one end to go to the other, it's going to get tighter and tighter, so you always do the edges first. So now you can take your stitch markers off, and we're going to do another scallop stitch right next to this, so you take it off and just pop it right onto the next peg. Here we go. And this one's going to be the exact same thing. So you half wrap your peg, use the stitch marker to pop it over. That's row 1. Turn around for row 2, and we're going to do 15 rows back and forth just like we did for the first one. You're going to continue like that, doing 3 pegs at a time all the way around, and it should give you 8 scallop stitches exactly for the 24 pegs. Alright, once you get all 8 scallop stitches done, you'll notice that there's going to be 2 loops on every peg. So for row 12, you're just going to knit over all those as one. And what that means is you're going to half wrap your peg, grab the first loop, knit that over, and then without moving, grab the second loop and knit that over. So you're going to half wrap the peg, first loop, second loop. If you feel more comfortable, you can scoop up both of them at once. It doesn't make a difference. So you're going to do that all the way around. Until you get back to peg 1. Then row 13 and 14, you're just going to knit like normal. Once you get row 14 done, you're done knitting, and we're going to do the drawstring cast off. So you're going to take your working yarn, wrap it around the loom one time to measure the length. Snip that. So now with this tail, we're going to do the cast off, so scrunch your stitches down about halfway so that you can see. You're going to half wrap your peg, you're going to knit over just like you've been doing, except now stick your hook through this loop and pull it through. So now you can see there's nothing on that peg. So we're going to half wrap the peg, knit over, grab that, and pull through. And you're going to do that all the way around until there's nothing left on any of the pegs. Once you pull the last one out, your project should be free of the loom. So you're going to grab the two sides and stretch your stitches like this, just by pulling all the way around. You're going to grab the cast on tail, that's the one right now with the longer side, and it should still have the slip knot on it if you made a slip knot, so you can pull that out. And you're going to just tug on this. It might go all the way, it might not. If it doesn't, you can just manually move them over. Hold tight where you pull it as tight as you can. Hold here. And then just move these over. Okay, you're going to thread your needle with that cast on tail. Find the tiny hole that should be left with your fingers and put the needle right down through the middle of that. Pull that through. Now find the hole again. You're going to pick a side. You won't be able to see it if you're using fluffy yarn. Pick a side and put the needle in through, and then pop it up on the opposite side of that hole. Pull that tight, and then orient it so that the yarn tail is on the top, and then from the right, you're going to do the same thing. Go in on one side of the hole and pop up on the other side. And this time you're going to leave a loop. So if the loop is down here and the tail is up here, you're going to go on the opposite side and come up through this way. And then pull that tight. If you want to make another knot, you can, just to make it extra secure. So we're going to do that again. Make a stitch. Leave a loop. And come up through the bottom. And pull that tight. Next we're going to give them some eyes. I've just got some safety eyes here. They are 10mm. But you can also embroider them. Just stick them in anywhere. And then shove the cast on tail inside. Next we're going to stuff it. Maybe this much. Hold the stuffing in place, grab the cast off tail, and pull it a little bit. That should give you a bit more room to work with. When you're stuffing it, you're going to want to push your fingers down the middle and kind of scoop out towards the edges. Pull that tight. Now thread your needle again with the cast off tail. And we're going to make another knot. So find where that hole is. Make it as small as you can. Go in on the opposite side from where that tail is. And come up where the tail actually is. Pull that tight, and then just like before, go to the other two sides. Leave a loop, scoop up from behind it, pull that tight, and then we're just going to go in where that knot is with the needle, come out literally anywhere, and that'll hide the tail inside the project. Then you can snip it off. His eyes are a little lopsided, that's fine. Give it a little squish, and then these scallop stitches, you're just going to sort of pinch and tug at them so that they're not little squares, they turn into little nubs. So see how this one is kind of square? I'm just going to give it a little pull, and it's a little more nub shaped. Makes them a little longer, gives them a little definition. And there you have a little octopus. Thanks for watching.